Selby, and you're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York. And ladies and gentlemen, of course, we have joining us. Okay, excellent. I think we got a little preview of our surprise tonight for our listening audience. Awesome. But I just want to let you all know that we have in the house with us, ladies and gentlemen, Pedro Liz, who is the host of El Rincón Caliente, our very own in the house. We also have Dr. Bryan Walensky, and tonight we will be talking about some very intriguing assistive technologies for visual impairment. And with that said, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, of course. And when we talk about this, I mean, one of the things that I think is probably most feared, and this is out of many years of having conversations on disability on this program, one thing that individuals expressed a lot of concern about was, one, dementia or losing one's sort of ability to memory. But second to that, the thing that people sort of feared the most that they expressed to me was visual loss, which could be, as we understand, very debilitating. We get a lot of information about our surroundings and interact with the world through these visual pathways, and when that is interrupted, it can be devastating. But Pedro, can you just talk to us about your experience and also some of the recent developments and exciting things that are taking place right now in your journey in dealing with this?
Sure. Like I have a problem in my eyes that was when I was born with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's retinitis pigmentosa. They call it RP also, short. And this condition, you could see almost 20/20 when you born with it. So I used to play basketball, baseball, ride bicycle, do a little bit of driving. But once you grow older, you've been losing your eyesight. Right now, I have what they call tunnel vision. And when I heard about this program and this wonderful device, I was shocked because sometimes you want to read a book or a letter that comes to you, and you tell somebody, can you please read to me this? And sometimes they never have time. And you're a little bit frustrated when they say, I do it tomorrow. And now with this device, I just can go downstairs, open my mailbox, and start reading right there. So it's a very important tool that these wonderful guys from Israel, they brought to us. The company is Orcam, and the device is My Eye. They have 3 of them. One that only read. The other one is a little bit bigger than this one, that also do the facial recognition, the product recognition, all the wonderful thing that this does. But the only difference is this is smaller, and it looks like a Bluetooth also. And I'm been doing all kind of stuff with this wonderful device. It's amazing.
Excellent, excellent. So tell us sort of about what things were like for you prior to having the assistance of this device. What was it like sort of just in your daily life here in New York City, right? One of the busiest cities on the face of the planet. What was it like for you sort of getting around and doing those day-to-day things, like you said, even just trying to read letters?
You see that they open a new store. Tomorrow maybe it's not there. So sometimes what I do is go around my neighborhood and look at the signs, the different store, and if the font is not that funky, like I call it, he will read it to me.
Got it.
So it's like doing read, whatever, any kind of store around my neighborhood. And that's how I find out what's open, what's closed, and what's new, and things like that. And another thing that changed my life, this device, is I have a large family. And sometimes you're talking to somebody next to you, and somebody else call you, and you turn your head to talk to that person. And if that person get up, sometimes they don't tell you, I'll be right back.
Oh, I see.
So when I come back to talk, I'm talking to an empty chair. What I do now is I scan. I got all the faces of my family in here, and I go around moving my head. When the device recognize the person that I want to talk to, I start talking.
Excellent. So tell us how, that was it, ladies and gentlemen, in the background. I don't know if you heard it. So, Dr. Walensky, tell us, how is this actually working? How does this device function in helping individuals like Pedro sort of regain some of the lost function of sight?
Sure. So what OrCam specifically is, it's basically computer vision. It's a smart camera about the size of your lipstick. Attaches a lipstick case, attaches to the side of a pair of eyeglasses, and then takes a photograph, speaks back to whoever's using it what the information it sees. And it does 3 specific things. It does reading, so optical character recognition, so it can read you a book. As Pedro said, the mail, newspaper, or signs in the neighborhood. And it's giving you that independence of doing things on your own. So if somebody, let's say, very common eye disease, possibly some of our grandparents have, is macular degeneration, it's on the rise, they can just simply use this device to read a book, read the magazine, read a newspaper again, and have that independence to do it on their own rather than waiting for somebody to read it. Also, it does facial recognition, as Pedro said, so he can see his large family. So as you say, Pedro, you're not talking to the empty chair, so you know someone is there. As well as product recognition to recognize everyday products. So you can go shopping with this. And I actually know someone who likes to read, because she has a lot of food allergies. She likes to read the labels on there, and she is blind from diabetic retinopathy, and she is able to read the food labels to see what allergies or what she's allergic to on there to make sure she's safe. So it works, it has many functions. It's a multifunctional device. It does barcode recognition, color recognition. So there's many things, and there's, and as Pedro just said, it tells money. Yeah. So it'll tell you $1, $10, $5, and I can show you guys how that works. And the company is amazing. It is out of Israel. It's in Jerusalem. And they have basically about 100 engineers just sitting there working on this one product. So it's pretty amazing.
Excellent.
But in the field of, I'm an optometrist that works in the field of low vision, and I see lots and lots of patients. They're coming in with many different needs and wants. Everyone's vision loss is different. It's all unique to them. Some people, maybe they weren't an avid reader before, but they don't want, but they don't have to be an avid reader to want to use this. They possibly, that independence of just even reading the mail.
Yes.
There's different things, that different wants that people want. And that's why I like this device, because it's multifunctional. The other thing I really like about this device, about the OrCam My Eye, is that it is able to work across all spectrums of vision loss. So the camera is not working with your vision. It works basically on its own. It works as Pedro called it. It's my eye. That's why it's called that. So it's basically working as an assistant to you. So it's giving you the information. So if you're low vision, visually impaired, or blind, you can use this device. So, or if you have diabetic retinopathy, if you have macular degeneration,
or
any traumatic, traumatic brain injury as well. We're also trying to see this being used for people with reading disabilities, such as dyslexia.
Excellent. And so, and I could see how this could be, just one thing that stood out to my eye, and you said counting money, right? Just this simple thing of making transactions each and every day. I remember watching the Ray Charles movie and the guy that cheated him. And this is something that one can be exceedingly frustrating, but we're talking about potential financial loss, losing out on interaction with friends and family. And this sort of, from what it sounds like, brings that back to a certain extent, and allows you to live for a somewhat normal life in that sense, or at least in interacting with other individuals.
Well, it's not that it's
truly revolutionary.
It's not that it's like giving back normality. It's more of giving back the independence of what their needs and what somebody wants to accomplish on their own. People are using this for school, for work. And there are other things out there. In the past, before we've had assistive technology, I'm much older than everybody here in the room.
You look great,
old
man.
today.
What are you talking about? I'll argue with you on that.
So, in the past, all I really had to work with was optical magnifiers. And sometimes optical magnifiers don't work for everyone. Using a magnifier also is kind of tedious. You're holding something in your hand. Think of somebody elderly who's maybe shaking or can't hold something heavy in their hand. Or also tiring. You're making something larger. So you're seeing one word or maybe even one letter at a time. So it gets tiring to use something like that. So it's great nowadays where we have so much new technology and people working on these things that it's giving people with disabilities or people with vision loss another solution.
Yes.
And for people with these like difficulties, like how accessible is this device? Like, can they just go to their optometrist like anywhere and just find a way to pick it up? Or
well, that's the thing. We're trying to get the education out there, trying to let people know that there are assistive devices, assistive technology like Orcam II out there. It's a matter of just educating everyone out there that it's available, letting people, the consumers from the New York State Commission for the Blind know for their clients, for their consumers, as well as people at the local blind library to know. Or if people want, letting other optometrists and ophthalmologists know to tell their patients, hey, I've heard about this device out there. Maybe I can hook you up and send you out to meet a distributor and get a demonstration of this device. And that's really what, in any type of product, really for disabilities, it's you got to try it, see if it works for you, and then go on from there.
Excellent.
And typically, what would the cost be to the patient who would like to bring this into their life and improve their lifestyle?
Sure. So the cost of the device is $4,500. It is covered for veterans through the VA hospital.
Okay.
It is covered as well in some cases, I believe, through the New York State Commission for the Blind and other states as well. It just, you have to have a counselor, have an open case, and also being able to show that it works for you in school or at work or whatever activity that it is that you choose to use it for.
That's awesome. And I had one other question. Pedro, do you use this on a regular basis, or is this something that you occasionally use? Has it been integrated in your life at this point?
I use it as I need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I always carry it with me, though, because you never know when you have to pull it out.
Yeah. And it's
so
easily portable, right?
It is very portable. I can just leave it hanging on my neck, and when I need it, I just clip it on.
Excellent.
So what do you mean by clip it on? Just for the people who aren't visually seeing this? Just so that
it has a magnet on the leg of your glasses, and you just put it closer, and you hear the click.
So on the hinge of your glasses, basically, one of the arms of them, you've installed a magnetic mount, and then the device itself has a magnetic part of it that allows it to mount on.
And you can put it on both sides, too.
Awesome. And then just so for the people who aren't watching this on Facebook Live, it does also have flash above and below the camera, right?
Before we didn't have, in the old unit, we have a lot of person that wants to read the menu on the restaurant. You know, in the restaurant, the lights are dim. So they're having a little problem with that. So they come up with the lights also. Now we just click on it, and the lights will come on, throw the picture, and start reading to you.
Excellent.
Wow.
All right, that's what's up, man. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, indeed, more exciting information to come regarding other assistive technologies. And you are, of course, listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM New York, the voice of Harlem. If you wish to call in with any questions about tonight's program, you can call in at 212-650-6903. Once again, the number to the studio is 212-650-6903. We will be right back. Stay with us.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
This is the sound of E. coli splashing around in raw hamburger juice on your cutting board. And it looks like Mom just put the tomatoes and onions on there too. Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. So always separate raw meat from vegetables on 2 cutting boards. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
If you know the symptoms and get the facts, you'll know the signs of a heart attack. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if it sounds familiar, call 911.
Pain in your neck, chest,
arms or jaw,
shortness of breath.
please tell us more. Cold sweats and nausea, tiredness,
It's time to take it
serious. Back pain, stomach pain, shortness of breath, cold sweats, nausea, dizziness. If you know the symptoms and heed the signs, you'll be around for a long, long time. Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911.
Learn a song that could save your life. Get a free download at womenshealth.gov/heart attack.
Women, listen to me, and when I'm done, if any sound familiar, call 911. If any sound familiar, call 911.
A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
911.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up.
Cause we know how to jump.
We roll it out.
We know how to skate.
We'll cut it down.
We know what to eat.
We'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day. That's We Can. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York. WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Whatever, it worked out.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are listening to Health in Harlem, and this is another episode. Today we have two very special guests, one of our own from WHCR 90.3 FM. We have Mr. Pedro Liz, and then we also have Dr. Bryan, who's here with us and discussing an important technology that Pedro has been using to improve his lifestyle. So Pedro is legally blind, and so he is using this new device called OrCam.
Correct.
That is it basically recognizes faces, money, different products, and allows you to read things for people who have impaired vision, and allows them to function, improve their function of vision throughout the day. And before the break, we were talking a little bit about what the company does and what this device does, describing its purpose and function. And right now we have a question from Michael Holmes for Dr. Bryan about the product.
Yeah, so before, during the break, we were talking about basically the origin of this product, and I was just curious to know more about the details regarding that.
Sure, it's a very interesting origin. The company of OrCam was started in 2010 in Israel by Dr. Amnon Sheshua and Ziv Avraham. And they were in another company called Mobileye, basically working on computer vision for collision detection of vehicles. Specifically, they were implanting their technology into what we now hear of the buzzword autonomous driving. So it's very interesting. They sold their company last year, Mobileye, but this is their second company, OrCam, where they took the computer vision, the technology they came out with, and they put it more for use to work for assistive technology for people who are blind or visually impaired. They originally came out with their original device actually in 2013. And then they did some studies, and that's sort of when I got involved with them. And we were looking at how can they make improvements. And then in 2015, they launched the device here in the U.S. First. That specific device was the original OrCam My Eye. It still is available and is a viable machine, but it did have it basically had two parts. It had a head unit, which was clipped to the side of a pair of glasses, and then attached by a wire to a big battery pack that you had to wear in your pocket. Now, people like that because it was robust. It had 3 buttons on it: power, volume, and a trigger button to take a picture. But a lot of people didn't like the wire aspect of something. They wanted it to be wireless. So they came out with the OrCam My Eye 2.0 just this past December. And it is now a wireless device, so you don't need that heavy battery pack. It also doesn't have any buttons anymore. So what it is, as I mentioned, it's about the size of a lipstick case, weighs a little less than an ounce. It has 2 little LED lights in the front and a 13 megapixel camera. And then in the back, it has a speaker that sits next to your ear when you magnetically put it onto the glasses, so that way someone can hear right from next to the ear through a speaker. And the thing with the LED lights, that was an added new feature because it's a camera. It's got to take a picture. You can't take a picture in the dark. Well, in a dark restaurant, people would have trouble reading the menu, as Pedro said. So now in dim light situations, Orcam is working a lot better.
Nice.
And with the wireless ability now and the lightweight, people who are visually impaired or blind, who are using tools, who are using optical aids or any type of technology or device, they really don't want it to be bulky. They don't want it to be seen different than anyone else. And Pedro has it on right now. It looks just like someone's wearing, to me, a Bluetooth device.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
on the side of the glass.
Exactly. So you don't want it to seem different, and it's inconspicuous, basically, very discreet.
So Pedro and Dr. Bryan, do you mind giving us a demonstration of its use right now with any of the devices, any of the products that we have in front of us, or money, something that's so that the visitors can see, or do we need a couple more minutes to let it charge up again?
Sure. Well, I'm actually going to bring it out. Let's see if it works. Pedro, why don't you show them a book for reading? Just turn your device on. But we have to make sure that the speaker that he's hearing next to the ear, that everybody else can hear it. So maybe turn a little bit towards me. It might say my name. So good. I think we can hear it.
Yep, I definitely heard it.
Are we able to? Okay, great.
Okay.
And then I'm going to turn mine on also, and we'll do some other features.
Okay, I'm going to put...
So the way this works, I'll explain. Pedro is basically holding a book about 10 to 12 inches out in front of him. What he's going to do is use a gesture. The gesture is basically pointing. The camera sees his finger and is going to beep. It takes a photograph and is now going to read.
Step 8. Set up your physical location. Just like how numbers don't lie, vibes don't lie either.
And it was that quick.
Located and where it operates is super important, so make sure you are keeping this in mind when starting your business. Whether it's setting up a home office.
Now Pedro's going to do a stop gesture to make it stop. So all he did was put out his hand, like telling it to stop. And basically the camera stopped reading.
So you can think, digest the information.
And when the camera take the picture and it start reading, you can take the book away because it's already on the memory.
Wow.
And when done with that page, you will hear a ding.
Wow.
So you know you have to
turn to
flip
the next
the page.
and then you start again.
Exactly.
With the gesture of the finger.
Exactly. Or touching it.
Oh, got it.
So the device has a touch bar on the side. You can use the touch bar to swipe, much like you do on your phone. So you could swipe forward or swipe backward, where it goes fast forward or rewind, and you can make it louder, fast forward or rewind, or make it lower volume. And as you just heard, Pedro's device said Bryan, because that was the facial recognition part.
Awesome. So quick question now. Let's say this is just practical use I'm thinking about, as far as, maybe you're home at night and your family is sleeping, or you're in the bed next to your loved one and you don't want to disturb them while reading. Is there like headphones or something that you can use so that it's not as loud?
Well, you can lower the volume.
The time is 7:31 p.m. Today is Thursday, April 26th.
Stop that.
It's going to take another picture.
Oh, I see.
But you can also put in...
So he's just gesturing or swiping back to lower the volume.
Correct.
Got it.
Volume up.
But what you can also do is you can plug in, because I think you have one of those, right, where you can plug in a little mini USB into the mini USB and put in a headphone.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
So what about for products or money? Because I have a close friend of mine who actually is a DJ as well.
Battery is 90%.
Mine is a little louder because it was connected to a speaker.
Oh, got it.
So I have a friend who works as a DJ as well for mobile. So we go and do weddings together.
Right.
And whenever we're getting paid at the end of the night, I'll have to count the money for him. Or let's say he needs to use the bathroom, anything like that. We would have to basically figure out the route, and I would have to make sure that no one is trying to rip him off, essentially. So for that kind of function, you would be able to use this device to read out the bills so that you could count it on your own, assuming you're by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So can we try that out real quick? And then I'd love to see some of the product recognition as well.
Sure. So what I have is a monetary bill in front of me. I'm holding it up, and it should tell us what the bill is. Love technology, right? Let me make sure mine's on. There we go. There we go.
All right, so it's taking the photo right now.
$5.
And it just said $5. And then let's say you
I like the cha-ching at the end.
Yeah,
That was
cha-ching.
awesome.
So now let's say you point at the microphone, for instance.
So at the microphone, let's pick up the microphone here. Now, one thing to say, it does not have object recognition. It has product recognition.
Got it.
So let's see if this one works.
Health in Harlem.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Hey.
Which we programmed prior to the beginning of the show. So it does have programmable or programming features.
Exactly.
As
So
we
you can
said.
program the product in there, much like I have a bag of, let's see what it says.
Peanut M&Ms.
So I have a bag of peanut M&Ms that I have programmed in here. Okay, so basically it's programmable. So it's not seeing objects like a desk or a chair or things like that, and that kind of stuff is being worked on. So Pedro keeps looking at me and keeps
Got
saying,
it.
Bryan. But he knows I'm here. I'm still in the chair. I haven't walked
Yeah.
away. I haven't run to the
That's
bathroom.
right.
Right. But
And-
Pedro, if you turn around to me, I think mine has, oh, it said Bryan again. So let's take a picture of Pedro.
Pedro.
Hey.
Awesome. So just really quick before we go to break, as far as the learning curve, I imagine it took a little bit of getting used to. So how do you get one sort of used to this
Sure.
product?
So this is not an off-the-shelf
Why don't you do it
item.
with her?
Sure, we can. We will. Right after break.
Oh,
So
okay.
We can
So
take a
you're gonna train.
Nice.
So it's not an off-the-shelf item. It is something that has to be you have to be taught to use. So there is a training element to this. It's usually about 2.5 hours of training. And actually, that's how I first met Pedro.
Yep.
So
Got it.
and we became friends ever since.
Excellent.
So it was what, 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
With the
Yep,
original.
and it's now saying
model.
Pedro again. So with the original model, right? Exactly. We met through actually Pedro's ophthalmologist.
Wow.
Got it.
That's how I got involved. He says, you working as a DJ, you were doing this, you do that. I went back to school, so he say, I think I'm going to get you this. So
His ophthalmologist actually donated the device.
Wow.
To
I
me.
want to put a shout out to
Dr. Chess.
Dr. Chess, amazing man, who really helped Pedro.
And now, now the OrCam sees the way I did it, and they like me, and then they say, hey, come and do some promotion for us.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Awesome.
Yep.
So we're going to take a short 2-minute break, and once we get back, we're going to be training DJ how to use the OrCam and see how long it takes her to pick up on some of these skills. She's a bright girl, so I'm assuming it'll be pretty quickly.
No pressure.
We hope so.
And and then, ladies and gentlemen, please don't touch the dial. We'll be right back here on Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
You and your family are connected by routine, and you stick to it. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if your day's routine is disrupted and you can't reach your family? Have you planned for that? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, be ready. Get a kit. Make a plan. Be informed. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Health in Harlem on WHCR 90.3 FM, New York. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Mr. Pedro Liz, the host of El Rincon Caliente here on WHCR. We also have Dr. Bryan Walensky, an optometrist, and also actually a friend of Pedro's, and training him and assisting him with the use of the Orcam My Eye. And that's what we're talking about tonight, assistive technology for visual impairment. Very important topic. And with that said, we're going to do a nice, exciting segment in which we train our very own DJ to use this device.
So
you ready?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this. This technology is just really cool. Hopefully I can navigate it.
Sure, definitely.
You will. You're going to do it.
As I always say, it's easy to learn. Anyone can use it with no technological ability or has any technological ability. Okay. Worked with people of many ages. The oldest person I've worked with is actually 101.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Good.
Okay.
And the youngest I worked with was in their teens, but I do know of a 7-year-old who's been using this, so out in California.
Well, the pressure is on now.
Exactly. So, DJ, we just handed you a pair of glasses that already has a magnet that we put on the side of the glasses on the right temple. And if we grab my device here, which is around my neck, I'm going to take it off. I have it on a lanyard, so that way it doesn't
watch the wire.
drop. I got it. Oh, that's all right. We're stuck on a wire. What we're going to do is I'm going to take the headphones off a sec, just so I can get this around. Great. Got it. All right, technological abilities here. Now I'm going to put it right.
This is
technical
live.
difficulties, right. And I'm going to basically put this right on the side of the glasses.
Okay.
And it just went on magnetically right on the side of DJ's glasses now, on the right side. So what I want you to do, there's a little touch bar on the side. I want you to touch it with your finger.
Where is it?
I'm going to grab your finger here.
Oh, okay.
And right there.
Oh, it says it's waking up.
Right.
Hello.
And it
was sleeping.
It was sleeping. It's waking up. So it's going to hook up hopefully to the Wi-Fi here, so that way the Wi-Fi speaker here that I have. So I'm hoping it does. Let's see. I'm going to swipe forward.
Speaker MP2 connected.
There we go.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, so it's now connected to the speaker. So let's say we want to read something.
I love to read.
Good. So we're going to basically open the book up to any page.
Okay.
You're going to hold the text out about 10 to 12 inches out in front of you.
Okay.
Point your nose towards the middle of the text, okay?
Oh, okay.
I want you to point forward with one finger as if you're pointing to the sky. I'm going to hold your hand.
Oh.
Remove your finger. It's going to take a photograph.
Remember that your mortgage payments include taxes, insurance, and maintenance or dues if applicable, so take that into consideration as
So
well.
it started reading pretty immediately. What I want you to do is put your hand out like a stop motion.
Step 6. Understand.
And it's going to stop.
Oh, okay.
Pretty simple, right?
What if I
It's
wanted,
like Star
what
Wars.
If, I wanted to start reading again. Like, let's say I went to the bathroom. I'm done now. I want to restart the book. Like,
Point again.
You would point again. But you want to start where you left off?
Yeah.
You're talking about it. It does not do that. We'll go from the beginning page, but it does have another feature. So instead, let's say it kind of stops somewhere in the middle of the page. All you could do, you leave your finger in place. It's called touch reading. So it's on me. Hello, I'm still here. and it'll read from where your finger is, so 3 lines above. So you can navigate a newspaper that way. So you can go section by section. That's in the training that takes a little time to learn, but as you saw, the pointing gesture is pretty simple to do. Very quick.
Okay, so how would I be able to like program a person?
Sure. And
Other
you just
than
have
Pedro.
other than Pedro. Sure.
I'm still here.
So let's use somebody else that we don't have.
Michael.
So here's Michael. But what I want you to do is touch the side, okay? And take a picture
Don't
of
let
Michael.
go.
2 men are in front of you.
Because who's behind Michael?
Yeah, Reed behind.
Reed is behind her, right, exactly. So it notices 2 people. So we can't have 2 people there in order to do a teaching of someone's face. So we need Reed to either move out of the way or we take Michael here. So what I want you to do, DJ, is take a picture of Michael and make sure there's one person again.
Okay.
It might still see Reed.
A man is in front of you.
Good. All right. Now you're going to touch, but leave your finger there.
Okay.
Keep your finger there. Keep your finger.
Face learning. Please keep holding the bar for up to 30 seconds.
And now, Michael, turn your head a little bit to the left. Then turn a little bit to the right. You can smile. You're taking pictures. Good. There you are. He's posing.
Yeah, right?
Modeling.
He's a
Let go
character.
now. Let go now, DJ.
Please name the person in front of you after the beep.
Michael Holmes. Michael Holmes.
Touch to confirm adding
Touch the
person.
touch bar.
Swipe to record again. Person learned.
So now, anytime you go and sort of face Michael,
Holmes.
That's what's up.
So a very simple way of teaching somebody in there, and it's seeing Pedro again.
Yes.
But I've had it work from. Remember, we tested this in your apartment, when,
Yes.
and it was about about 8 to 10 feet away, and it's been improving pretty much because now the camera's a 13 megapixel camera.
Exactly. Got
So it's been improving.
And you know, when you purchase this device, you get trained for like 2 hour, 2 hour and a half. So you can know how to really use it.
Got it.
Because you cannot purchase and take it home because you don't gonna know what to do.
That's right.
So you get trained on it.
It's a good introductory to it, and then really, I give homework. So I tell them, use your OrCam tonight and read this chapter of this book and tell me about it tomorrow.
Yeah. So as far as just a couple more questions before we go to, oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, and one time I trained this one gentleman, and it was great because he couldn't wait to read his books. And I called him the next day. He goes, I haven't slept yet because I just kept reading. I called him the next morning. So it was great. He was very happy.
So as far as other uses, now let's say if you are, and this is very realistic, is sort of possibility, like being in the rain or in the snow, is it yet waterproof, or are we moving in that direction as far as dealing with environmental conditions, things of that nature?
At this point, I probably wouldn't recommend having it on in the rain.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Got it.
or the snow. That's why it sort of has a lanyard where you can wear it around your neck so you can kind of put it under your coat. I would say no at this point. I would be nervous about it, but
hopefully
I'm sure hopefully in the
being
future.
I'm pretty sure they're working on that. Yeah,
they're working on many things.
Yes. Excellent. And before we go to break, just as far as additional assistive technologies, are there things for other individuals? I remember at the beginning of the program you were saying that, there are different sort of experiences for individuals with visual impairment, and therefore potentially different products that they might prefer over other things. So are there other technologies that individuals out there can
Sure,
use?
of course. As I mentioned, there's optical aids out there, which pretty much are high-powered either telescopes or magnifiers. So, but that has to be somebody with some vision, so they can use it, some baseline vision. There are other technology aids such as stuff for the computer software. There's something I know Pedro wants to touch on is accessibility functions in your phones or your iPad.
Yes.
Other things like on the computer, there's something called JAWS, Job Application with Speech, which it basically is like it's a screen reader. It reads reads things off of the screen, right? And Pedro uses that, and many people who are visually impaired or blind use it. And then there's other things that will magnify, sort of like TV cameras, like kind of looking through that. So there are other technologies out there to use. It's just finding the right one for you.
Yes.
I find the OrCam device is in a category by itself because, one, it's multifunctional, and you don't need your vision in order to use it.
That's right.
And that's why I think there's a future in that.
Got it. And Pedro, you did want to add about the use of your phone or the accessibility
Yes.
of the phone.
A lot of people, they don't know, but when they purchase an iPhone has its own voiceover. When you wake him up,
7:50 p.m.
it will tell you what's on the screen. If you swipe to the right,
Thursday, April 26th.
when I open to go inside,
Netflix.
all my icons, I can read it one by one.
TuneIn Radio. Jazz Radio. Citizen. Pages. Spectrum TV.
Or I can start here and flip down with 2 fingers.
Netflix.
It will read it one by one.
One new item. News 12.
So I can do whatever a sighted person can do. I can send mail. I can read my mail. I can send text. I can record whatever a sighted person can do, I can do on my phone.
That's what's
so any person that is had difficulty, because there's a lot of blind people that only use the phone to dial. That's it. So I recommend iPhone for this. They can do everything on it, and this voiceover comes with every Apple product. That one, right there, the Apple computer, I can go and touch a button, and that Apple will start talking.
Wow,
got it.
That's why I like Apple product, because they can their own voice over.
Got it. Thank you very much for that. Okay.
Oh, and how many languages does the voiceover come with?
This one you can buy different packs, right? Brian?
VoiceOver?
No,
with
the
the
OrCam.
The OrCam.
In VoiceOver, you can just basically download different languages.
Different languages, yeah.
The OrCam device does not hook up to the internet. It's its own enclosed unit. So basically, you don't depend on Wi-Fi for it to use. So if you had poor connectivity or that, it's always going to work on demand. So it has right now 3 languages that are in my unit that I have. Same as Pedro's unit, it has 3 languages. So it has Spanish, French, and English. So if I pointed to text in Spanish, it's automatically going to read in Spanish or in French as well. I now have just have it set for English, but I know Pedro has it set for to auto recognize Spanish.
And you can order your own package. You can do the 13 languages, right?
There are, I believe there's 13 different languages that it comes in, and they're currently adding more languages. But right now, each individual device of the OrCam II 2.0 version has 3 languages.
Wow. That's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our last 2-minute break. And once we get back, we're going to be wrapping up the show by kind of summarizing what we've spoke about so far and talk about future directions and how we can get in touch with this company to be able to refer someone who might be desiring their services. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please don't touch the dial. We'll be right back here on Health in Harlem.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
It's not always easy being a dad.
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
What? What do you mean she's not coming?
But it's always worth it.
It's the fairy princess!
It is I, Grooves Zinkelpel. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Health in Harlem here on WHCR 90.3 FM. Today we have Pedro from WHCR, and we have Dr. Bryan, who's here to also discuss with us some of the new technology that assists those with vision impairment to be able to function regularly in day-to-day life by recognizing faces, products, reading, and being able to count money. So before we went on the break, we actually trained one of our radio interns, DJ, how to use the device, and within a minute or two, she had Michael Holmes recognized by the device, and she was able to also see the other special guests and co-hosts. And we were able to identify that it was two men that were standing in front of her.
Yes.
So it did all of these things, which is wonderful for someone who is impaired visually. And now to wrap it all up, I wanted to know, how can we get this product into our hands if we are visually impaired? So like my friend that I mentioned to you before, who's also a blind DJ, how can I refer him to you to be able to participate in this revolution?
Sure. So anybody can go to the website and request a demonstration.
Okay.
It's www.orcam.com.
All right. And then, so once you request it, they would come to you, to your address, and with the product. And
either a distributor would be contacted, maybe me myself would be contacted. I don't mind giving out an email if anyone has questions, if they have for me specifically, and I'd be more than happy to help. And again, it's not just about trying OrCam. It's also about talking maybe about their low vision or their visual impairment. I am a low vision optometrist, and I'm here to help the community. So is that okay to give out?
Of course. Yeah, of course.
So it's Dr. Bryan Eyes at gmail.com, and it's spelled Dr. Bryan, Bryan, Eyes, EYES, at gmail.com.
Excellent. And yes, of course, as we discussed earlier, sort of the accessibility of the device, we do have other options, and I'm quite sure Dr. Bryan is willing to sort of talk to individuals about those options. Meanwhile, they're getting more information about the OrCam My Eye, but definitely, you know, I'm glad that you're here for us, and we actually willing to help as far as
definitely. I find when I see patients, it's more about, like I mentioned earlier before, it's finding out what their needs, an individual's needs and wants are, and then trying to meet those needs either through technology or through optical devices. I know a lot of visually impaired and blind individuals have sometimes have multiple devices for different things, right, Pedro? Yeah. You have a different technologies and different optical aids for many different functions that you want.
And it's a lot of apps out there that will help people also.
Yes. So really quick, as we begin to wrap up, Pedro, I guess we can start with you. As far as what would you say is the most important thing that individuals listening to tonight's program, what is the most important thing that they should take home?
Well, they should just see the independence that it has given me. It will give you also independence, because like I said, a lot of time we want to do something and we have to wait for somebody else to do it for us. So right now, this will give you independence. This device is a life-changing device.
Excellent.
Wow.
And Dr. Walensky?
I think as a take-home message to everyone out there, it's that If you yourself or a family member or a friend is going through somebody who has a visual impairment or blindness, is really doing your homework and trying to be an advocate for them or for yourself, and find out what is out there. That there are things out there to help. That it's not an over situation. You can be successful in meeting your own goals and gain your independence.
So, Dr. Bryan, I had one last question. Do you foresee this device ever becoming an implantable device in the future, rather than something that's a wearable?
I have not had that question before, and there are implantable devices. It's a whole nother topic that are being worked on. Yeah. This specific device, I see it more as your wearable personal assistant. I see miraculous things happening with it for the future. I'm going to find out more going to the company in Israel next month.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll know more then. And but as far as this specific device, I don't know.
All right. And then do you guys have any questions? Our interns or Vinny, who just walked in, do you have any questions for us?
I'm good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are going to be wrapping up so that Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase can come on. So please don't touch that dial, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Health in Harlem. Thank you once again, Pedro and Dr. Bryan, for coming in.
Thank you.
And sharing this wonderful technology with our listening audience as well as us. And Harlem, please take care of yourself. This show is dedicated to the memory of Miss Gloria Thomas, and you are listening to WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Hi, I'm Vinny B of the Vinny B Showcase. Tune in every Thursday from 8 to 12 midnight for some solid cultural roots music and some sweet lovers rock. Also, informative interviews and giveaways. Right here on the Vinny B Showcase every Thursday, 8 through 12 midnight on WHCR 90.3 FM. Peace.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Inspired.